how's it going? Now I figured while I've got my ER6 still in my possession before I sell it, and I've got my F700GS, that I would do a little side-by-side comparison for y'all. The short of it is, pun intended, I am 5'1" with a 26-inch inseam, so when I was looking for my first bike I immediately jumped to the ER6 because I heard it could go down really low. I heard that it's a great beginner bike and all that sort of stuff, and let's face it, the size difference between the two, it's quite intimidating. It's like, oh my god, that's massive. So immediately you assume that the seat height would be higher than this little tiny little thing, because when I bought it I made sure to get this lowered, so you can see it's been dropped down about an inch and a half, and then there's a little spacer on the end of the shock right here which lowers it by, I think it's another 10mm, and then I've had the seat scooped out all nice and low. If I jump to a shot where I'm sitting on the bike, you can see my footing. That's where it kind of fell down for me, because like, even though I'd lowered it a hell of a lot, it still wasn't low enough for what I'm comfortable doing. Like, because I ride into London like every day, I bought it to commute on, and when you're filtering I found that you need to be able to touch the floor better, because my main issue is these motherfuckers, they're in the wrong position when I put my feet down, so that's why I can only get really the tops of my toes down rather than a more balls of my feet kind of situation. So that fucked me off, and I was living with it for 2 years thinking, oh, I'll get used to it, yeah, but the fact is I wasn't happy riding it. I'd find any excuse not to ride it, and it's a fucking shame, man, because I fucking love this bike. I've been creating this spreadsheet, which I'll put the link in the description, but basically just trying to collate bikes, like low bikes, and if they're not low, how low they can go. And that, my friends, brings us on to this bastard. I'll give you a side-by-side comparison of how my feet are here. So look, I'm almost flat-footed on this. The foot pegs are in front of where I put my feet down, so there's no getting in the way. It's just so much more comfortable. Like I say, I'm almost flat-footed, and this is fucking insane when you think about, I'm on an adventure bike, I'm 5'1", 26-inch inseam. Because the other fun fact that I found out about, well, the Honda Grom, the MSX 125, is that the seat height is actually the same as the factory low version, what this is, F700GS. So if you compare them side by side, I've got two pictures I'll put up on the screen now. Basically, massive difference in size of engine, size of bike, size of chassis. Like, you look at the Honda Grom, it's tiny, it's like a little monkey bike. You look at the F700GS and it's huge, but you put them side by side and I can fit on both the exact same way. Like, my feet fit the floor the exact same way as if I was on it MSX 125 or F700GS, and I find that fucking fact unfucking believable. How? The only thing to worry about this is when you put the side stand down, you've got to make sure it doesn't clip the floor, because I had one unfortunate incident where I was putting the side stand down and I wasn't properly taking notice of what I was doing, and it basically hit the ground and sprung back up before I realised that, oh shit, my side's standing down and my bike's past the point of no return, and it fell over. But the good thing about that is I tested my bike down feature, and I can confirm that works very well. It works very well. The other thing to consider when you're looking at bikes, if you're a short rider like me, is don't just look at the seat height, don't just look how high it is off the floor, look at the seat width and how far your legs have to bend when you reach the floor. Because if you look between this seat and the seat over here, this seat is wider. It's it's a bit wider than this one, but you can see all this part of the subframe and all this stuff that your leg has to go round, and obviously the foot pegs are in the way, that your legs have to go out wider to get to the floor. So if you consider that, even though this technically I have lowered it to 740mm seat height, which is so low, that's like lower than Harley Davidson level. That is really low, but I still can't get on it comfortably and feel really comfortable riding it. Whereas this one, 765mm, that's higher than this. How does that work? Well, I can tell you, it's the seat width and how far your leg curves to get to the floor. Because if it's straight down, like the MT-07s are really good. Anything with a narrow seat width, and your legs go straight down, that's going to be a lot better for you than a lower bike and a wider seat. Because I sat on Harley Davidsons and cruisers where I can't even get my feet on the floor. Everyone says, well, there's many people that say, oh, you don't need to touch the floor, you only need to get 1 foot down riding a motorbike and you're fine. That's true at speed. If you're going fast or if you're going at constant speed, that's very true. I've done trips on this, like all day trips, like weekenders and stuff. That's fine. But it's when you come to a stop, when you come to dodgy terrain, if you've got potholes, if you've got hill starts, or anything really, like someone pulls out in front of you, you've got to be able to stop it in a calm and controlled manner. Whereas this, I wouldn't trust myself to do that. Whereas this one, hell yeah, I would. If you're short like me, I urge you to look at every single option. Look at that spreadsheet that I put in the comments, in the description, sorry, and just investigate. Don't just look at the stock market and say, oh, I can't fit on any bike. Because like I say, this is factory lowered. You have to order it specifically or be very hopeful on used market, because they don't come up often. But bikes do exist where you can touch a floor that isn't a cruiser. What's going to make the most comfortable ride for you? Is it seat height? Is it seat width? Is it the weight distribution? Because the one thing I mentioned earlier is the weight is all up here. It's all here on this. So when you're doing manual handling and like trying to move it around, it's a lot more awkward, especially if you're only on tiptoes. Whereas the weight on this one, under the seat, like got balls of your feet on the floor, so much easier to manage. Even though, look at the size of it, it's gargantuan in comparison. It's massive, it's huge, and it's technically heavier as well. I think this is 20 kilograms more heavier than this, but it feels so much lighter, so easier to handle. I mean, like, for me, it's like the perfect bike. The only thing I'm kind of going backwards and forth at the moment is the size of this screen, because it's a bit big for me. It goes right through my eye line. It's fucking annoying. Heeled boots. Basically any manufacturer that makes heeled boots. They don't have to be Daytona Ladystars, which is what I've got. These just happen to be amazing. Waterproof. They raise you up like an inch, 2 inches. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're very good, very comfortable, very good quality. But Oxford do a pair, I think TCX do a pair of heeled boots, various manufacturers. make heeled boots, but they make it so much easier because it's basically just like wearing a pair of heels that fit like trainers, and they feel like trainers, and they just raise you up so you can reach floor that little bit easier, especially when you're tiptoeing, because you've got more heel to get to the floor with, which makes you more stable in return. So yeah, these are amazing. Definitely a must-have for shorter riders who want to ride bigger machines. So yeah, that is all for today. Goodbye guys.